Most people believe that talking about their goals makes them more committed. We share our plans with friends, family, or online, because we think that public pressure will push us to stay accountable, but research says the opposite might be true. In 2009, a psychologist named Peter Gollwitzer conducted a series of experiments to understand how announcing goals affects motivation. Across 4 separate tests, he asked 163 participants to write down their personal goals. Then, half of them were told to publicly share what they planned to achieve, while the other half kept their goals private. Afterward, everyone was given 45 minutes to work on a task directly related to their goal, and they were free to stop whenever they wanted. The results were surprising. Those who kept their goals secret worked for almost the full 45 minutes, while those who announced their goals quit after just 33 minutes on average. Why? Because announcing a goal creates an illusion of progress. When others acknowledge our ambition, our brain releases the same reward chemicals that it would after real achievement. It tricks us into feeling that the job is already done, and the drive to act begins to fade. In other words, speaking replaces doing. What feels like confidence is often the death of momentum. That is why some of the most disciplined people stay silent, not because they doubt themselves, but because they understand how easily the mind mistakes recognition for success. Human motivation is not just a matter of willpower, it's a biological process shaped by how our brain interprets progress and reward. When we set a goal, whether it's to get fit, start a business, or learn a skill, our brain creates a mental image of that future achievement. This image becomes a source of emotional energy, fueling our desire to act, but when we announce that goal publicly, something subtle yet powerful happens inside the mind. The act of telling others activates the same neurological reward system that would normally be triggered after real accomplishment. In particular, it releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure, satisfaction, and motivation. This dopamine release is what psychologists call a premature reward. The brain, unable to distinguish between symbolic and actual achievement, begins to believe that part of the work is already done. As a result, the urgency to act diminishes. Instead of feeling hungry to prove yourself through effort, you begin to feel content simply because your identity has been acknowledged. You start seeing yourself as the person you aspire to become, without having taken a single step toward becoming that person. This concept was precisely what Peter Gollwitzer explored in his research. He called it the difference between identity goals and implementation goals. An identity goal is about who we want to be, for example, I am a writer, or I am an entrepreneur. An implementation goal, on the other hand, is about what we need to do to reach that identity, writing every day, building systems, or managing discipline. When we speak our goals out loud, we strengthen the identity but weaken the drive for implementation. The brain prematurely checks the box, and the cycle of real progress halts before it begins. The science of habit formation supports this as well. True motivation grows not from external validation but from small, private victories, completing tasks, overcoming challenges, and seeing personal growth without applause. Each private success strengthens the neural circuits linked to persistence and resilience. In contrast, public recognition diverts focus from the process to perception. You begin to act for the sake of maintaining an image rather than pursuing the transformation itself. This illusion of progress is dangerous because it feels so good. It disguises itself as confidence and encouragement, while silently draining your discipline. It's a psychological paradox. The moment your dream becomes public, your brain stops chasing it with the same hunger. The scientific truth is simple: the mind rewards intention, but only if that intention stays sacred. Once spoken, it becomes a story; once shared, it becomes identity. An identity without action is nothing but imagination. When we talk about our goals, we don't just communicate, we create what psychologists call a social reality. This means that once your goal is acknowledged by others, it begins to exist in the social world, not just in your private mind. You are no longer someone becoming that person, you are seen as someone who already is. And because identity is one of the strongest forces in human psychology, this perception becomes powerful enough to alter behavior. Imagine someone who declares they are training for a marathon. The moment they say it, their friends and family begin to treat them as a disciplined athlete in progress. Compliments, encouragement, and admiration follow. This immediate validation feels rewarding, so rewarding that it replaces the deeper satisfaction that should only come from actual training and completion. The person begins to enjoy the image of effort more than the effort itself. Slowly, the daily grind loses its appeal, because the social reward has already been received. This is the core of the social reality trap. Once your environment recognizes your ambition, your brain begins to internalize that acknowledgement as proof of progress. You start to think less about doing, and more about maintaining the image of someone who does. It's a psychological shift, from growth to performance, from self-development to self-presentation. You might still talk about your plans, still imagine success, but the raw hunger that drives deep work weakens. The trap becomes even more dangerous because it feels virtuous. Society praises people who share their goals openly. It looks confident, inspiring, transparent, but the truth is, confidence built on validation is fragile. It depends on continuous acknowledgement from others. The moment that attention fades, so does the drive. True confidence, in contrast, grows quietly, through results, not recognition. The concept of social reality explains why ancient philosophers and modern psychologists often repeat the same advice in different words. Protect your process. When your actions are observed too early, they become diluted by judgment, praise, or doubt. Your mind begins to split between living authentically and performing socially. And in that division, focus dies. The trap of social reality is not about ego, it's about energy. Every time you explain your dream, you spend a part of the energy that should have fueled it. You give away momentum for approval, and when enough people see you as already successful, your brain quietly accepts the lie. The result is comfort disguised as ambition, a story of becoming that never truly begins. Beyond the psychological illusion, there are practical and emotional dangers in making your goals public. The first is external pressure. Once people know what you're working toward, they unconsciously become your judges. Every conversation becomes a subtle evaluation of your progress. They ask, "How's the training going?" or "Did you start your business yet?" While it may seem supportive, this external attention often creates anxiety, not motivation. The goal transforms into a test of reputation instead of a journey of growth. This pressure can cripple focus. When your mind constantly anticipates others' reactions, your decisions are no longer based on logic or discipline. They are shaped by the fear of judgment. You might overthink every step, lose patience with the process, or avoid risk altogether just to protect your image. That is why many people choose silence when pursuing something big, like preparing for an exam, launching a startup, or working on personal change. They understand that mental clarity thrives in privacy. The second danger is social resistance. Once you tell people your plans, you invite their opinions, and not all of them are encouraging. Some will doubt you. Others will subtly discourage you, and a few will even mock your ambition. These reactions, no matter how small, can plant seeds of hesitation in your mind. Every doubt you absorb from others becomes an obstacle within you. Over time, you start questioning your own capability, not because you lack skill, but because you've internalized their skepticism. The third danger is psychological rebellion. When people around you start monitoring your progress, your subconscious reacts with resistance. No one likes being controlled or observed too closely. Even if the observation is supportive, it creates an internal tension, a need to reclaim autonomy. Ironically, this can lead to procrastination or self-sabotage. You skip a day of training, you delay a task, or you make excuses, not because you're weak, but because you're trying to feel free from others' expectations. Together, these three forces, pressure, resistance, and judgment silently erode motivation. What began as a personal mission becomes a public performance. You start acting out the role of a motivated person, rather than being one. This is the hidden cost of sharing your goals too early. You trade freedom for visibility. In contrast, when you keep your goals private, you build them in silence, shielded from interference and expectation. You make mistakes without fear, learn without judgment, and evolve without comparison. Silence gives you space to fail privately, and that space is where real transformation happens. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness, or secrecy. In reality, silence is a form of control, not over others, but over oneself. It is the art of holding your energy until it becomes power. When you choose to stay silent about your goals, you are not hiding, you are protecting the fragile seed of transformation from the noise of the world. Every great achievement begins in stillness, not in applause, not in validation, but in private struggle. In psychology, silence acts as a self-regulating mechanism. When goals remain unspoken, the mind focuses purely on execution. There is no external feedback loop to satisfy the craving for recognition, so the only available reward is progress itself. Each small step releases genuine dopamine, earned, not imagined. This creates a reinforcing cycle. The more you work, the more authentic motivation you generate. Over time, this cycle builds discipline, and discipline becomes identity. Philosophically, silence is also a form of humility. It teaches patience in an age obsessed with instant results. When you don't announce your intentions, you allow them to grow without the distortion of ego. The world sees nothing, but within you, something profound begins to take shape. The process itself becomes sacred. You learn to act without seeking approval, to build without being seen, and to grow without external validation. This is how true mastery develops, in the unseen hours, where no one is watching, and no one is applauding. Silence also builds resilience. When you keep your dreams private, failure becomes a lesson, not a public embarrassment. You can fall, adjust, and rise again without the burden of explanation. You remain flexible, creative, and mentally free. Public goals, on the other hand, often turn into cages. They trap you in the image of who you said you would become, leaving no room to evolve or change direction. Silence keeps you open to adaptation, to learning, and to redefining success as you grow. Many of history's most effective thinkers, artists, and leaders understood this principle intuitively. They spoke through their results, not their promises. They knew that silence doesn't mean isolation, it means power and reserve. It's the difference between fire that burns quietly within, and one that burns out too soon, because it was exposed too early. The truth is simple yet profound. What is protected grows stronger. They spoke through their results, not their promises. They knew that silence doesn't mean isolation, it means power and reserve. It's the difference between fire that burns quietly within, and one that burns out too soon, because it was exposed too early. The truth is simple yet profound. What is protected grows stronger. Your dreams need silence the way seeds need soil, shielded from exposure until their roots are strong enough to face the world. When you act in silence, your focus deepens, your energy sharpens, and your results speak louder than any announcement ever could. Understanding the psychology behind goals is meaningless unless it transforms how you act. The first step is awareness, realizing how easy it is to confuse intention with achievement. The next step is discipline, learning to replace the satisfaction of talking with the satisfaction of doing. When you feel the urge to announce your goal, pause, and channel that energy into the first action instead. Let your movement speak what your mouth wants to declare. Practical psychology shows that motivation builds from progress, not promises. The moment you take even a small action, reading one page, writing one paragraph, running 1 kilometer, your brain receives real feedback. It registers proof of effort, not illusion. This genuine reward strengthens the neural pathways linked to persistence, making it easier to repeat the behavior. Over time, consistent small actions accumulate into visible transformation. To apply this in daily life, create a private accountability system. Write your goals down, but keep them hidden. Track your progress for yourself, reward yourself only when milestones are reached, not when intentions are spoken. This keeps the feedback loop authentic and prevents the brain from substituting talk for effort. Equally important is reframing silence. Don't see it as loneliness, see it as alignment. When you stop seeking external approval, your focus shifts inward, you begin to work for growth rather than applause. Your purpose becomes personal, and your discipline becomes internal. This shift is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Another key principle is reflection. Instead of sharing your progress outwardly, reflect on it privately. Each evening, ask yourself, what did I build today? What challenged me? What did I learn? Reflection strengthens awareness and keeps your energy directed toward improvement rather than validation. Finally, understand that transformation is not a spectacle, it's a quiet revolution. The world may not see the hours you spend learning, practicing, or failing, but those invisible moments shape the foundation of real success. When your results finally appear, they carry a depth that no amount of talk could ever achieve. In a society addicted to exposure, silence is rebellion.